Welcome into the C3 experience. I'm Cody. That's Colin. Colin, look who joined us tonight. Cale's back.
He's back.
Just like talking
Woo!
the SEC tonight, Cale is back, just like Texas.
Gosh, it's nice to be back because the podcast is alive and well. Left it in some good hands. It's good to know that we're still freaking rolling. So, how's it going, fellas? How's it going? How was the ACC and Big 12 preview without me?
We really missed you for ACC.
Yeah, I really missed the banter. It kind of makes this fun.
I mean, I have to say that I just listened to the ACC preview today and partial of your guys' Big 12 preview, and just to kick things off, NC State going 12-1 as a loss to the conference title game is fucking in the playoff. That's all I got to say.
They should be.
That was egregious, and it made my heart explode into a million pieces because I was like, oh man, I thought maybe you guys would have a flawless episode, and as soon as I heard that, it was like, oh, it just went to shit. So
well, here's the thing is I didn't agree with Cody, but I was just asking him out of curiosity what his thoughts were. I could see how the committee could leave them out because their schedule is not that great.
Yeah.
Looking at it.
do you realize leaving a 12-win team out of a playoff with 12 teams?
Yeah, but
asinine.
But did you understand the context of Colin's question when he asked? Virginia,
let's rehash it real quick before we jump into the SEC, since I missed it the first time around. So
okay, so here's what I think the issue becomes, Cale. And I don't want to ruin this, and we're going to get into this more once we do the college football playoff predictions. Like it's going to come full circle, and you're going to understand. I was kind of preluding to what could happen, but just out of like what has already been talked about was I had Miami at 11-1, NC State at 11-1, SMU at 11-1, and Virginia at 11-1.
Mm-hmm.
And NC State could obviously flip that narrative real quick and be 12-0 into the conference title game, playing Miami if they beat Virginia week 0 in Brazil.
Right.
So then you go look at the Big 12, which we already have. I have Texas Tech 12-0. I have BYU 11-1, and I have Utah 11-1. So if all those teams that are one-loss teams are in the playoffs, that means there would be 7 teams in the playoff, essentially 9 already, because you're going to have Notre Dame and you're going to have the group of 5 team that's got to be in there. So that would leave 1 spot for the SEC and 1 spot for the Big 12 or Big 10. And that's not going to happen.
Well, we'll see. I mean, it's a mess, man. It's a mess. And I think I wanted to give the caveat, since I didn't get to say this, and I know it's on my own freaking accord. But the ACC, you were talking about how they all miss each other, right? You guys were talking about that.
Right.
It kind of happens in the Big 12 too.
I think that's by design to put the best teams in the best position possible to make a playoff and have it be more than one team make it in. I think that's the conferences realizing where the human element is in play, that they have to do something within themselves in scheduling to make it so that they don't cannibalize each other, because you will see that in the SEC and you're going to see that in the Big Ten in some shape or fashion, specifically in the SEC. We'll get into that.
Yeah.
Well, and realistically, right, like between 2 conferences, there's probably not going to be 7 teams that are 2 losses or better.
Right.
In the Big 12 and the ACC respectively. Because I have it at 8 teams right? Oh, I have it at 7 teams that only have one loss in the Big
Right.
10 or Big 12 and ACC. Probably not
Here's
going to happen,
Right.
but
And
it
where
realistically could.
the context of when Colin was asking is he goes, they go 12-0 during the regular season, but Virginia shits the bed, Louisville shits the bed. Those are their two toughest in conference games. So then it doesn't look as great.
Well, and I was pushing the narrative that they get blown out by Miami.
But yes, blown out by Miami.
right.
You
Yeah,
know,
well, I think at the ACC, and honestly the SEC, you know, with them playing 9 games, and I know the ACC, there's a couple of them that are only playing 8, but the majority of them are playing 9 conference games, which they didn't a year ago.
Right.
So that has to help them in the viewpoint of now things are equal largely, minus the few caveats in the ACC in terms of conference scheduling being 9 and potentially +1, and some of those schools are playing 11 power 4 games.
Right. Georgia Tech.
You know? Yeah. So, and I don't think it's anybody that's of note like that's going to be in the mix, but it's still happening.
Right.
Which as it should. So, okay. That's my ACC spiel.
I have a feeling when we go into our playoff, it's going to go. We're going to have a lot of takes when we start doing playoff predictions.
Well, do you remember last year? Last year was freaking nuts.
Right.
Like the ACC Wheel of Destiny was full in play, and then we had freaking Duke make the freaking ACC title game. You know, like what? Yeah, I mean, that's
because of
old news, but still.
Because of stupid tiebreakers.
Yeah.
Right.
That might be the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Well, should we jump into the SEC?
I'm ready. I'm ready for the SEC.
Let's talk some SEC narratives. We'll start with, we got, 6 new coaches in the SEC this year? Ryan Silverfield at Arkansas, Alex Golesh at Auburn, John Summerall at Florida, Will Stein at Kentucky, Lane Kiffin at LSU, and Pete Golding at Ole Miss. Obviously, Golding's going to have a little bit of a caveat to it because he was just elevated to head coach. He's not, coming over. So,
yeah, we saw a little bit of him anyway last year in the playoffs. So,
and I think LSU made a slam dunk hire. Mm-hmm. I think Auburn made a slam dunk hire. I think Florida did. I think Florida made a really good hire. I'm still.
I think Arkansas did. I think Arkansas. I'm going to answer this for you. Did not. It's not a slam dunk, but it's as good as what they probably could have brought in.
Right. Correct. Well, yes. Golesh was supposed to be going to Arkansas, right? And then Auburn opened up. That's what Peyton was saying. Is like it was almost a done deal, and then the Auburn.
I don't remember the order of how that all fell, but
because is Golesh originally from Arkansas?
There's some tie to Arkansas for him. Because it was him and SMU head coach. Because the SMU head coach is
Rhett Lashley.
Yeah,
he's the one that was like he's the Arkansas alum, not Golesh.
But I think like Golesh's wife's family is from near Fayetteville or something like that.
Gotcha.
Like there like it wasn't like a tie directly to Arkansas, but like there was a tie to the state of Arkansas somehow, and his family or something.
Sure. Who do you think has? I mean, there's really only
his wife's family is from Fayetteville.
Yeah.
The two coaches on that list, between the two of them, Will Stein and Silverfield, who has the toughest quote unquote rebuild or just build in general?
Silverfield.
So I want to go with Silverfield, but I think Silverfield's going to have a lot better chance of getting NIL than Stein.
I think exactly opposite.
So you think
I was agreeing with Colin because I think isn't Arkansas kind of financially like stingy?
I don't think the money is there in Arkansas yet. It could be very quickly.
Yeah.
It could be very quickly. But the
And it could
problem
be a
is that
large sum.
is the people that have the money in Arkansas own the Denver Broncos.
Right.
So that's
And
where
then
the money in Arkansas is going.
And then Tyson.
And here's the other thing with Arkansas is don't kid yourself. They've got a basketball coach that is demanding a lot of money
Right.
to build a brand in Arkansas that like you can use John Calipari as a perfect example of why Silverfield's job is harder. Like he can't get guys to come to Arkansas. Calipari can't.
Right.
And he's going to be demanding, like, I got to get this money. Like, if we want to get this on track, I got to have this money. That's why he left Kentucky, is because they wouldn't give him all the money in Kentucky. And because they were giving it to the football program, plus I think recruiting to Kentucky is easier than recruiting to Fayetteville.
Yeah, I can see that.
I can't say that I've ever been in Arkansas, but I was just in Kentucky this year, and I can't be all that easy to recruit to Kentucky either.
Well, I get that, but what I'm saying is, like, it's Kentucky is closer to like the Georgia metro area, and closer to Nashville, closer like prospect
Chicago.
wise. Yeah, Chicago,
Ohio,
Cincinnati, Ohio, like
Arkansas's biggest.
You were there, Cale. You know how like it's not that far from Indianapolis to freaking Lexington, Kentucky.
Oh no, dude! That taking that drive from basically Big Ten country to the Southeastern Conference was kind of interesting to me. How close in proximity all that is down on that highway from Chicago to Nashville.
Well, and like when you're recruiting to Arkansas, you're basically recruiting to kids to come to freaking Oklahoma.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
Southern Missouri, Oklahoma,
and Kentucky's got a little bit of brand weight with them with their basketball program,
right?
Where Arkansas doesn't. Like, what sport is Arkansas known for? It's baseball. There's
baseball and track and field.
Right. There's not a ton of people that care about college baseball. You know,
hey, if you're a college football player and you know that Arkansas's got great track and field, you know why you're going to Arkansas.
Right.
It's just for the future.
To get that speed.
Oh gosh. Well, I was gonna say it's a nice little breeding ground, but you know.
Well, yeah. Breeding's different down there. It is interesting, though, that
angle, but yeah,
it was interesting that the Penner family actually gave Missouri. That's where a lot of Missouri's NIL money comes from. Is the Penner family?
Yeah. So that's why I think Silverfield's job is harder.
Okay, perfect.
And I mean, like, let's be honest. We've seen Kentucky football already buy recruits. Like they literally bought Kenny Minchie out of Nebraska. Like Kenny Minchie was committed to Nebraska, was going to Nebraska, and they went to him and said, "Here's the check. You fill it in, and we'll sign it."
Yep,
like,
that's incredible for a quarterback that hasn't played it down.
Right. Like Vince Morrow has bought recruits to Kentucky already.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, Kenny Minchie has 186 yards passing in his career.
Oh, I can't wait till get into this. I cannot. Speaking of yardage. Okay.
So now we move on to coaches on the hot seat. I went with Shane Beamer. He took a huge step back last season. Then, obviously, there was a lot of talk with he had, one of the top quarterbacks in the country last year, and now he's completely no one talks about him anymore. You got Dylan Stewart on the DN.
Okay.
Nick Harbor.
Hold on. Time out, Cody. Shane Beamer has been on like the South Carolina fans' head chopping block for longer than last season.
Oh yeah,
Like, I can remember when
he saved his job 2 years ago.
he let Satterfield come to Nebraska. Like, I can remember South Carolina fans like celebrating him leaving and like, Nebraska, you guys are morons. This guy sucks.
Yeah,
Yep.
Like Shane Beamer's been on the chopping block at South Carolina clear back to when Spencer Rattler came in and blew ass.
right.
Like,
And then they went in and beat.
This isn't just a last year was bad. So if he puts another year, like, this is like multiple years stacked together type of deal. Like,
Right, but 2 years ago they were a game from going to the playoffs.
well, right. Well, that's because they got rid of Satterfield. We found that out.
Then you got Brent Venables from Oklahoma, even though they went to the playoff last year.
That blows me away. He's not.
That I agree with you.
How can he be on the hot seat? Like, in what planet is he in the hot seat now? Like,
Oklahoma fans.
Yeah, it's because their offense hasn't been great. There's been
they
a
got
lot
to they got to run the football. They've got to run the football.
They're so bad at the running game.
Yeah, that has not been Arbuckle's forte.
Yeah, turns out that you can't just implant a good running back without good linemen in the run game.
Right.
You know, like, because Jaden Ott was plenty good at Cal.
Yeah.
And
Then,
comes into Oklahoma and he's a freaking nothing burger, as you always say, Colin. Nothing.
Yeah, nothing burger.
And then it turns out it's just like, well, it's not because he can't run. Not because he just lost all the skill. It's because the linemen in front of him can't handle the fronts or whatever
Maybe
in front of them.
Maybe the SEC defensive fronts are just that much better. It just means more.
Or maybe Oklahoma's run game is so goddamn simple that it's just easy to defend.
Well, and here's the other thing too, is I don't think Oklahoma's defense has been what the fans thought it would be under Venables.
No, but that's because
I don't know
how much of Venables' name is still based off of all those years ago of being a defensive guru. You know, like, games change.
Okay, Cale, here's a question for you. Venables, you don't think Venables should be on the hot seat like that? Blows your mind, which is fair because I agree. Like, I don't think he's on the hot seat. But what happens if they go 7-5?
Well, I had him 6-6, so
right. That's what I mean. Like what happens if they go 7-5, 6-6? Like, if
this goes back. It goes back to the same conversation though about, like, people need to understand that 6-6 is not the same value as what it was 12 years ago.
Right.
Like, these power conferences are going to make it be so that either, like you've kind of talked about, either coaches are going to get fired because people can't handle what the new numbers mean, or they just stick with a coach and just start forking over hefty number like money for players.
Damon Benning said it right before his last show. Instead of paying these $60 million buyouts, just give the coaches the $60 million to go buy a roster.
Hey, piss off, asshole. I said that before Damon Benning did.
Yeah, he said it.
Cale can defend that.
I was just referencing that from the last time I was on here with you guys.
Yeah, because Benning said it too.
Yeah, piss off. I said it first.
You know why Benning said it? Because he listened to the C3 Sports podcast.
And he's like,
and
dude, that
Colin
guy
say it.
He's like, that Colin guy knows what he's talking about. But seriously, like, why would you pay, like, if you think the coach is a good coach, and unless he does something egregious, you know, or like he's not, you don't think his staff is putting in the hours, you're asking him to make staff replacements, adjustments, and he's not making them. Why would you fire a coach? Why wouldn't you say, okay, yeah, boosters, I understand that you want to make a coaching change, but this is the number that's going to cost me. And instead of writing that check to him for him to not coach here anymore, let's just write that check to our damn football program and give that money to our damn football program.
Right.
to buy like literally buy yourself a freaking national title. Like the Dodgers are buying themselves World Series right now. Like
Right.
freaking go try to buy yourself a college football title.
Not if the White Sox have something to say about it.
Which brings us actually, because the next two coaches, I don't think necessarily the three of us think they're on the hot seat, but the narrative out there is that they're on the hot seat.
I could see the next one you're going to talk about.
Cale DeBoer at Alabama.
Yep.
No way.
Yep.
I don't think he is. I mean, he just got a playoff win last year, but everyone tries, and that's where I put.
He didn't get a playoff win last year. He got a conference win last year.
In the playoffs.
He didn't get a playoff win. He didn't beat anybody outside of the SEC.
But the thing with him, and that's where I put it on our note sheet, is Alabama. It's a fine line where they're all of a sudden you're going to follow what happened in Nebraska, where you're trying to read.
They're not following what happened in Nebraska. They're falling into what Alabama football used to be before Nick Saban went there and bought themselves national titles.
Yes.
Before NIL was legal, Alabama was NIL before NIL was legal. Let's not freaking joke around. And Alabama was dog water before Nick Saban got there.
I got something to say about that as soon as we move on, because this is about my entire point about the SEC is based off of that.
Okay, anyway, like I was saying, firing coaches trying to replicate what Saban did, much like Nebraska fans still want to replicate the 90s, even though all three of us have talked about that. But where all of a sudden you're firing coaches trying to get the same coach you had before.
Yeah, well, that's why I think it's hard to be the guy that bridges the gap. You know, like the guy that follows Saban was always going to be doomed because it's never going to be good enough. That's exactly why Solich got freaking let go.
Right.
Because you can't
Right. And that's where I was going with that question.
We said that leading into last year, Cody. We talked about that, about DeBoer being that guy. Like, I wouldn't want to be the guy that's following freaking Saban and all that kind of stuff. Like, no way. You want to be the guy after the guy that follows.
Right. 100%.
Because they could I mean, when we go through schedules and stuff, any one of these schools, I don't think Georgia would, but like there's a handful of these that are very capable of going 7-5, and they're going to be way better than their record.
Right. 100%, because like you said with Oklahoma, 6-6 now is not what 6-6 was 20 years ago.
Yeah, not with this conference. No way.
So the last coach on there was Steve Sarkisian at Texas, where this goes into Colin, like you were just talking about, with Texas has thrown a lot of money at their roster. They missed the playoff last year. If they miss the playoff this year, just from a lot of the Texas fans think that he could be out because they've given him everything for this year's roster.
Who are you going to go get?
Yeah. Exactly.
Who, if you can Sarkisian, I mean, that probably the same thing goes for Alabama. But like, who are you going to go? Who's on the docket that's like, okay, this guy's going to be available when and if we need to fire freaking Sarkisian? Who is that?
Might be Cale DeBoer.
Right.
I'm telling you now, if Alabama fires him, he will get scooped up by somebody very fast.
Oh yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Same with
might be Nebraska.
Here's a really a realistic thought.
Yeah.
Is let's take this back to last episode. What if Texas goes 7-5 and Oklahoma State goes like 11-1 and makes the Big 12 title?
Right.
Oh gosh, Eric Morris. And then bring Mestmaker with him.
Well, he won't be able to now with the new transfer.
No, he wouldn't. Well, he'd have to sit one.
He'd be grandfathered in.
Yeah, that's true.
Because essentially nobody that's like you can't retroactive like, well, you already used your transfer.
Right.
Once that
right.
rule goes in place, everybody's got
starts
one
now.
transfer. Yes.
Oh
Right.
yeah,
From that,
okay.
you know, so
Yeah.
like Eric Morris has already recruited the freaking state of Texas for
Right.
2 stars. So now we can go recruit the state of Texas for 5 stars.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's just cool our jets on that. I don't want to talk about that. That makes me sick.
Because I just made it real. You know
I
what I mean?
know.
Well, yeah, I
Yeah.
mean that's probably the most realistic option.
Yeah. I mean, to
Freaking
stick
hey,
with this,
Pate had
Cale-
freaking Klatt had freaking Oklahoma State as 25 on his preseason rankings.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
anyway,
Keelan DeBoer gets fired and Shane Beamer gets fired. Keelan DeBoer will have a job tomorrow in South Carolina.
yeah, if he doesn't go to Nebraska first.
Okay. We're 25 minutes in and we haven't even got into this.
I told you it's a 2-hour special.
Yeah.
Behemoth of a show.
Well, we went a little long talking ACC. Well, do you want to
like
hit
10 minutes?
A little long. That's
All
a
right.
short segment.
Should we move into schedules?
Yes.
SEC schedule breakdown, boys.
Well, do you want to do schedules or do we want to go over what we thought our predictions were first?
With that, we put it all under predictions.
Let's talk about the non-con games and some of our favorite ones. Like we don't have to break down every
Okay,
non-con
I got what
game.
you're saying. Yeah, because we've been putting all that under schedule talk, so that's my bad.
Right. So just talk about your favorite non-con games in the conference, and then, I mean, we don't even need to discuss conference games because
Right, we'll talk about that.
you can circle like 7 games in every week in the SEC
Oh
Right.
gosh,
out of 8 games possible and be like, this is going to be a really good game.
I had to roll my eyes all day today. Every time I saw it, got to the next game to try to predict it, and I was just like,
Yeah.
oh. Like, are you serious? Now this one, now this one, now this one. But yeah, I'll lead it off. Non-con game that's like super on my radar is, I mean, outside of the obvious, like I think Oklahoma, Michigan, and the Texas Ohio State game is the obvious
Yeah.
too,
Right.
being on the same weekend. But I think Mississippi State, Minnesota is a fascinating game from the standpoint of the whole narrative we've seen all offseason about the Big Ten versus the SEC, who's better, blah, 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 all the pandering the SEC coaches have done to try to bolster their whole we're deep and we are who we are versus the Big Ten's national titles and just the narrative. Like if Minnesota and Mississippi State play and Minnesota wins, say by, they're going to win by 13 is what's probably going to happen because they're going to control the game and kick 1,000 field goals, and then win the game, and that helps settle somewhat of the narrative in the bottom half of the conferences.
Right.
And I love those storylines because you can talk about the big games and the big names all year long, and then it just gets redundant. But the story really is with those mid-tier to bottom third or whatever.
I just wish that the Power Four would get on, like the ACC or the ACC and the Big 12 get together, and the Big 10 and the SEC get together. Kind of like a big brother, little brother.
Right.
The ACC and the Big 12 are little brothers. The Big 10 and SEC are big brothers. The 2 big brothers knock it out. Like we're going to have a scheduling alliance. We're going to play 10 conference games or 9 conference games plus a Big 10 opponent every year.
Right.
And like make it a big deal. Like play all those games like on the freaking 3rd week of the regular season and be like, okay, here you, and I understand that the Big 10 has 18 teams and the SEC only has 16. So there's going to be 2 teams that get left out, but that sucks for Purdue and Rutgers.
Right.
But like, I like how fun would it be if you knew the third week of college football was conference rivalry week, or
Right.
like however you want to say it, and it's the Big Ten SEC challenge and the
Yeah.
ACC Big 12 challenge. Like, buckle up, boys! Here we go for a Saturday of football.
Isn't that like
You'd
basketball?
have to do
feast
that
week?
like you couldn't even do that all on the same weekend because you can't literally watch all those games. Like I
Right.
wouldn't want all of them to happen at the same time because I'd be a zombie by the end of the day.
Well, we're a zombie by the end of the day anyway. Watching
Well,
that
yeah.
Hawaii midnight kickoff.
But yeah, you have to get used to those midnight kickoffs with Hawaii just so that way you can veg out. Like yeah,
Right.
you have to actually be on it the whole day for something like what Colin's talking about.
Right.
You know, but
You could play some of those on Friday, maybe.
the freaking Big Ten ACC used to do it in basketball. Now it's the SEC ACC challenge.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
the college basketball has already showed you the freaking
Right.
footprint. Just now
Yep.
go do it.
Right.
Yep, that's what I was getting into because that's always feast week, right? Around Thanksgiving when they do that.
So, I know. I think it's later than that. I want to say it's like the first week in December.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember those were
They're still playing like around Thanksgiving. There's still a ton of like tournaments
Battle
going.
for Atlantis and all that stuff.
There are teams playing in Hawaii and
Yeah.
all sorts of jazz. But like, I mean, you kind of get it because Oklahoma, Michigan play, Ohio State, Texas play, Mississippi State, Minnesota play. Like, yeah, let's do it. Let's just. I mean, C3 Sports. We fix the narratives for everybody.
Right.
Like,
I just think it's great. I think it's just crazy because like if Minnesota wins that game, and I fully expect them to, then all of a sudden you have Big Ten country rooting for Mississippi State the rest of the year for upset.
Right.
Because I'm telling you, dude, the war that goes on X and in social media between the Big Ten and the SEC is like the freaking Confederates versus the Union. Like, it's freaking nuts on X, man.
Right.
Freaking nuts.
I'll jump into my game that I really like. For me, it's Louisville Ole Miss because I'm high on Louisville, so I'm excited to see that matchup. But we also get to see
Lincoln Keenholz. Woo!
We get to see Ole Miss, Post, Kiffin, Weiss. Obviously, Ole Miss, that backfield's still insane. But that game's the one I'm really looking forward to.
I'll tell you right now, Ole Miss is going to win by 12 plus, but I just want to see how is it close through 3 quarters and then it gets like out of hand a little bit, or is it from the word go that Ole Miss just handles Louisville? Because that's going to dictate a lot of what I think about Louisville, honestly.
Cody, can I ask you a question?
Right. Yes.
Can you give me some actual real life basis of why you're obsessed with Lincoln Keenholz?
I'm not. I'm obsessed with Jeff Brom.
Jeff Brom. It's the Purdue factor.
Goodness gracious.
Which
Like,
I think is totally warranted to some degree.
But he couldn't fix Miller Moss.
Could anybody fix Miller Moss?
Yeah.
No, because he was with
Sometimes you can't fix the unfixable, bruh.
Right. But he was with the 2 best quarterback whisperers, and like you couldn't fix that. And like I think Miller Moss is better than Lincoln Keenholz. Like, I
can't wait till this just starts to get settled because Lincoln Keenholz has had more airtime on the C3 Sports podcast than any player in the history of the C3 Sports podcast. So
need to get Levi in here for his takes on Lincoln. He loves him some Lincoln.
Should just call him on speed dial right now and be like, "Hey, quick, what's your thoughts on Lincoln Keenholz?"
When he went into the portal, like people like at Nebraska are like, "Oh, we should go get him," and I'm like, "Why?" Like there is like I don't know.
I wasn't sold on him coming to Nebraska, but it's not like I think that he's an awful player. I mean, here's one for you, Colin. Who would you take, Lincoln Keenholz or Josh Hoover? Because you hate them both.
I'll take TJ Lateef. Literally, I think Lincoln Keenholz and TJ Lateef are on the same playing field, and I'm dead serious.
TJ Lateef, as in the TJ Lateef that played UCLA, or the one that played Penn State?
Well, the one that played Penn State was hurt, so yes,
Well,
the one that played UCLA.
Okay, so he must be pretty good.
UCLA was also really bad.
Bing zinger. All right,
Colin, what's your game?
Well, I mean, obviously, I'm infatuated with Ohio State, Texas, and Oklahoma, Michigan. I'm also dying to see that LSU Clemson game because I just want to know what LSU is going to look like with Lane Kiffin, because that could be a major sleeping giant.
Right.
Like
I agree with you 100%.
I'm a huge Lane Kiffin guy. Like, that dude can coach offensive football, and then you're going to put him with a team that can play defense.
And Blake Baker. Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. I think some of the issues, and I know that you love Blake Baker, Cody, and I think he's a fantastic defensive coordinator as well. Here's the issue that you're going to see is people are going to be upset at LSU this year because LSU is going to give up points.
Right.
But it's part of the issue with Lane Kiffin's defenses is they're always on the damn field.
Right. Because offense scores in about a minute 12.
Or turns the ball over in 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Like LSU can go 3 and out in freaking 25 seconds. They're off the clock.
Right.
And the defense is right back on the field. And we're talking like 1 minute of actual, like, real life time, and LSU's defense might be back on the field.
Right.
You know, so like that's one thing that people got to be leery and ready of, is that LSU's defense might give up. You know, they're LSU fans and college football fans are used to LSU giving up 17 to 21 points. This defense might give up 28 to 31, but they're still going to win.
Right.
I have them scoring 420 points on the year, and that might be low.
How, out of curiosity, how many do you have them giving up?
I have them giving up 236.
That's good. At least you didn't say 235.
So it's about.
That was.
Does that equate out to be like 22 points a game?
Yeah, something like that.
23 points a game.
That's about right in Lane Kiffin teams.
Well, and here's the thing is you're gonna get questions answered about LSU, and you're gonna get questions answered about Clemson week 1, right away, out of the gates.
Yeah.
And you're probably going to get Dabo defending his job week 1 right out of the gates.
I have LSU winning by an average margin of 15 points.
14 or 16.
But I also have them going 9-3. So.
All right. Do we want to get into where we have our predictions?
Yeah.
Should we just go down the list in alphabetical order, and then we'll just be like, this is what I have this team, and then talk about this?
Yes.
All right. Okay. That works.
Alabama. Cody, give us the synopsis.
Nope. Wasn't prepared for that. So Alabama, top secondary, one of the top secondaries in the country, led by Xavier Brown and Bray Hubbard. They had a transfer from Michigan and Keon Sabb. Linebackers, they added a big transfer from Virginia Tech and Caleb Woodson. Then you get to the offensive side of the ball where they have a lot of questions. They couldn't run the ball last year. The only team worse than them in the conference at running was LSU. They got to replace a bunch of O linemen. They don't know who their quarterback is, and their running back is between two very young guys.
I do think
Ryan Williams has to bounce back majorly.
I do think they know who their quarterback is. I'm pretty sure they've already came out and said it's Keelan Russell.
It is Russell for the first game. They just said that for the first game, meaning that it's still going to be an ongoing battle.
Right.
Correct. All what happened at Ole Miss last year.
Right.
I think that Alabama is going to get the best quarterback play that you've seen out of Alabama since Tua and Jalen Hurts.
Right. Because you have a quarterback built for DeBoer's offense and his system.
And those guys, I don't care who it is, if it's Russell or Mac. And one of them is not going to be there next year.
And when they're not left-handed like Tua.
But they've got an opportunity to be better than both of those guys, I think. Right. Especially in DeBoer's offense.
I had Alabama 9-3. 10-2. 10-2. I had Alabama 10-2.
I have Alabama 10-2, losing to Georgia and LSU.
I have them at 8-4. I have them dropping a 1-point game at Neyland Stadium and at home against Auburn, along with losing to LSU and a 3-point loss to Georgia. But I have LSU handling them by 7.
Interestingly, I had the loss to Georgia, but my other loss was to Texas A&M.
I mean, what's that saying go? It's freaking. What'd you say the other day? It's 50 whatever one way, or six one way,
half a dozen
the other.
Right.
I mean, in this schedule, they could finish 9-3 and have their losses be to 3 different teams that we even said.
Right. I mean, yeah, you can look at this schedule and you can. I mean, any SEC schedule we could sit here and debate.
Right.
But I think you look at Alabama's schedule and the ones that you earmark right away as potential losses are that 4-game stretch of Georgia at Tennessee, because that Bama-Tennessee game is always close.
Right.
Texas A&M and at LSU.
Yep.
Then I gotta say this. I gotta say this before, or go for it. Sorry.
Then you hole punch, as I brought up on the last episode. You hole punch games against South Carolina and Auburn. As like, you better have them red flagged.
Right.
I'm a little like, I think Auburn could be really good, but I'm just not ready to raise the Auburn flag and wave it around yet, because it's a little bit scary when you're bringing a quarterback from South Florida and Byron Brown to the SEC. Like, the dude tore it up in the American East, but what's going to happen when he's playing real football? Like, this is like,
he's already been able to scale his production in Power 4 games, though.
I get that, but this is like elevating a quarterback from JV to varsity. And
he's only the 12th. He's only the 12th player in history to go 3,000, 1,000. And 2 years ago, when he broke his leg in 2023, he had 3,800 yards only through 8 games. Passing
in the American Conference.
Yeah, in the American Conference.
Doesn't freaking matter, dude. Playmakers are playmakers.
That's like saying you're the tallest midget in the room.
Yeah, but he also has receivers that can't separate as well either. It's still relative. The talent around him is still relative. It's distributing the ball to people that can separate, whether it's relative to that conference or relative to this conference, because the decision making is there. It's not like he's throwing to UCF receivers against the best secondary in the country. Like, he's still going to have playmakers at Auburn that can separate equally, relatively, from conference to conference, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I get your point, but I would say you're more than likely being in South Florida in the Tampa area. You're recruiting a little bit different player than the rest of the American East
Than
Conference.
Army or Navy.
Well, I'm not even talking about Army or Navy. I'm talking about like freaking
East Carolina.
Charlotte, East Carolina. Like you're
Yeah.
recruiting in a completely different freaking
Temple.
yes.
Right. And also, you're going up against.
Like
I may be
East
wrong.
East
But
Carolina,
your
East
defensive
like
coordinators are a lot better.
Here's a yes, like, and that's the thing is like, yeah, you could read a defense that the American East is giving at you, but like the defenses that you get in the SEC are way more complex than what you're seeing at the American East.
Yeah, I agree, but his athleticism and his profile just speaks to be like, I mean, and the creativity offensively of Alex Golish, like
Right.
it's a proven system. It's not like you're plugging him into freaking Satterfield's offense at South Carolina.
Well, and I do like the fact, and like that's why I've told you guys that I think Byron Brown's going to be really good in the SEC. Like I think like this is his chance, kind of like Trinidad Chambliss last year. Like this is his chance to show, like America, the world, how good of a player he is, because he wasn't getting that opportunity at South Florida.
Right.
Like he's going to be playing prime time games on prime time television, like. You know, like, so back to, we kind of got a little bit off topic there because we're talking Alabama, not Auburn. Kind of just skipped over Arkansas, but like, I think Alabama's ceiling is probably 10-2. I think their floor is 8-4.
Yeah.
Good with that.
Now, I mean, you pick. I mean, I think you can earmark Georgia and LSU as losses. If you want them to go 8-4 or 9-3, whatever. Like I don't think they're 7-5. I don't think that's a real thing.
If they are, DeBoer's looking for a job.
I don't think DeBoer's looking for a job regardless. Like,
well, here's the thing.
I think they could go 6-6 or 5-7 and miss a bowl game completely, and he still has a job next year.
I fully I think there's only 5 games on the schedule that they're even capable of losing. Barring some freaking 8 turnover meltdown like we've seen in Lincoln. You know, but like, and that's, I mean, if they were to lose to A&M, then I'm guessing that they would beat someone else on the schedule that I had them losing to, like Tennessee or something, you know, like
right.
They're not gonna lose all 5 of those toss-ups.
Right.
I mean, I had them losing 4 out of 5, and when I was actually kind of surprised when I got done. I was like, oh, I had them losing 4 games because I thought I had them like sitting around 10-2 as I was going through it. Because I went by a week-by-week basis instead of a team schedule, so it was kind of interesting how I came to my conclusion.
All right, let's talk Arkansas.
2
Whole
and
new
10.
team, new coach with Ryan Silverfield, 18 transfers just in the secondary alone. Returned 3 starters on the offensive line, and they are in a QB battle with KJ Jackson and AJ Hill, both dual threat quarterbacks.
2-10. They beat North Alabama. They beat Tulsa, and they don't win another game. Next topic.
Right there with you.
Yeah. Unfortunately, like I'm right there. I am a Silverfield fan, so I hope he does eventually do well, but it's not going to be.
If they're to get
Oh, hold on. Time out. Let me rephrase this. I have them 3-9.
My next question was going to be, if they get an SEC team, who is it?
Is it because of Missouri?
It's Vanderbilt.
Oh, frick. I thought you were smiling because I thought you were going to say Mizzou.
Vanderbilt.
No, it's Vanderbilt.
Yeah, I had Vanderbilt being freaking beat up pretty bad. So anyway,
Vanderbilt's schedule is brutal, by the way.
Yeah. So are we officially on Auburn?
We are moving on.
Okay.
Auburn, New head coach Alex Golish brings star quarterback Byron Brown, starting center Cole Best, along with the majority of the South Florida receiving core. Retained
Oh,
DJ
that
Durkin
kills
as
my
the
narrative.
retains DJ Durkin as the defensive coordinator. Then just one of the freshmen to keep an eye on is Deshaun Spencer, a wide receiver.
Watch out for their run game. Jeremiah Cobb and Bryson Washington
And Byron Brown.
and Byron Brown. They've got 2 stud running backs to go with Brown. So,
But the problem with Auburn has been the last couple of years is their O-line.
which is why they have Byron Brown, because that escapability is going to be all good for him anyway.
Correct.
Colin, I've interrupted you enough. What do you got to say?
I have Auburn at 8-4. Now, there's 3 games in there that could flip things.
Right.
Baylor, Florida, Tennessee.
Yeah, I had them at 7-5.
They're beating Southern Miss. They're beating Vanderbilt. They're beating Arkansas. They're beating Mississippi State. They're beating Samford.
Yeah.
Cody, you want to talk about him? Or you want me to?
Oh, I think don't know this for sure, but I had them at 7-5, and I think that Florida game's their big. That was the one I questioned the most on their schedule. It was that Florida game week 3.
Their schedule, I mean, just like the whole SEC, but like this is just going to be fascinating. Like, let me first back up here real quick and say, last year I've never hated the SEC more. Total 180 for me this year. I am fascinated with the SEC now, and it's because of a point that you made earlier about the former SEC where Bama could buy players, and the SEC basically just rode the coattails of the powerhouse of the SEC, whichever team it was, mostly Bama, Auburn with Cam Newton and whatever, and some LSU teams.
And Georgia.
Georgia. But now this conference is legitimately deep. And it's freaking fascinating to watch. Like, there's not just like, oh, I hope that this team's good enough to knock off the top team. You know what I mean? Like that. So I'm just putting it out there. Like, I'm not going to hate on the SEC as much as I have in the past. And that's because like, this is going to be a wild effing ride, man. And Auburn, like I have them winning or losing games by less than 4 points. Or 4 points or less, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
And they were kind of like that last year, and they couldn't even move the ball. With Jackson
I really like that they kept DJ Durkin.
Yes, and that is why I picked them to be 10-2.
Whoa. Okay.
I have them at 10-2, and I have them losing in Neyland Stadium and at Georgia the following week. But I have them beating LSU by 1 after losing 2 straight, because I feel like there's something that's going to go wrong in LSU at some point. There's just going to have that variance with it being year 1. So anyway, we'll save that.
Here's the scary thing for Auburn. I think that, and it's high school kids clear up to the college kids right now, like I think they're very fragile-minded people.
Yes. We talked about that in the ACC.
There's a 3-game stretch for Auburn that is very
brutal.
Yeah. You get at Georgia, Ole Miss, or LSU at Ole Miss.
With no bye week.
Yeah, with no bye week. 3 straight games. Like, now here's what's fascinating is they have a bye leading into Georgia.
Right.
Yep.
All right. Let's talk about Florida. Because I have some thoughts on Florida.
All right. Florida welcomes new head coach John Summerall. It's already been talked about the giant culture shift he has brought to Florida with physicality. Brings Buster Faulkner over from Georgia Tech, and Faulkner brings his quarterback and Aaron Philo over. They also return one of the top backs in the country, the country, Jaden Baugh. They had Dallas Wilson, which Cale, I know you love you some Dallas Wilson from last year. Their quarterback battle with Philo and Tremel Jones. Jones seems to be a little bit more athletic. Then defensively, they're led by Miles Graham and Jaden Woods, and they are starting a very young secondary as most of their secondary transferred out. And we'll get into that here on a team we talk about later. That is Florida.
I'll start if Colin wants to go last on this one since this is his baby.
Can we have Colin lean in and show that hat off real quick? Yeetus.
Okay. I have Florida at 8-4. I have them losing at Auburn by 4. The following week, they're going to lose to Ole Miss at home by 7. They win the next 2, and then they lose at Texas by 2, and then at home against Georgia by 2.
Hold on, is that game at home?
Yes.
That's
no. I'm sorry. Neutral site. Either way, it doesn't matter.
What, the Georgia game?
Yeah, it's a neutral. It's in Jacksonville.
It's not. It's in Atlanta. Jacksonville's under renovations.
Yes, that's right. It's supposed to be in Jacksonville.
Right. And then next year's Tampa, and then it goes back to.
So you might as well just say it's a road game. So
okay.
That Ole Miss game.
8-4. Not confident about it. Total toss-ups.
That Ole Miss game is fascinating to me because you're getting Ole Miss the week after the LSU game. And there's going to be a lot of emotions coming off that LSU game.
Well, Florida's in the same position that Auburn really was. Like, you got to move the ball.
Right.
Florida's defense was not a problem last year.
I love Jaden Baugh, dude.
And DJ Lagway was just turnover machine.
Yeah.
So I think the biggest key here, and I'm guessing Colin's going to mention this, is Buster Faulkner.
Right.
Like, that dude and the creativity that he has in the run game, this is going to be the closest thing to Urban Meyer Gators in terms of offensive scheme as you've seen since Urban Meyer being in Florida.
All right. Real quick.
I hope I didn't steal your thunder on that.
I had him at 7-5. I'll end there. Colin, the floor is yours.
So I have Florida 7-5. But I'm selling stock in 7-5. I'm not buying stock in 7-5. I actually think 7-5 is Florida's ceiling.
All right.
Where are their losses?
And I'll tell you why. Like here's what I think is I think that Florida under Billy Napier was in a much worse place than people realized. Just some of the stuff that you've heard the head coach talk about has not been
right.
Things that you would want to hear or see. He said things that make you go like, what in the hell was going on at Florida under Billy Napier?
Right.
It's actually fascinating listening to what he has to say. Like some of the stuff that Summerall's talked about, it's amazing that Florida won the games they won.
Right.
Under Napier. And so I think there's a big, huge culture shift there. I think while all that stuff I think is positive, I think there's more that has to be done there off the field to get things corrected before the on-field product is going to resemble what it should. First of all, I think Tremel Jones should be the quarterback. Early on, I'm like, oh, dude, like Faulkner and Philo, like Philo's the dude. Like Faulkner brought Philo over for a reason. I think for the offense that I would imagine that Florida is going to run, I think Tramel Jones is the much better option.
Yep.
Here's
Yeah.
where I think like Florida, you can circle and win it when they play Campbell. I think you can earmark them winning against Missouri. I think you can do the same with Kentucky, Vanderbilt, and then Florida State. You never know. It's a rivalry game. I don't care if Florida's 11-1 at that point and Florida State's 1-11. Like that game's
Yeah.
it is because it's Florida State. The games that worry me for Florida, and I like took me a while to pick. Like I think they're going to lose to Auburn, and I think that might be when the change goes because I fully expect Philo to come out of camp as the quarterback because he knows the system. He's got a leg up. I think the Auburn game is when you see Tramel Jones take over.
Yep.
They're going to lose against Ole Miss. I don't give two flying pennies that Ole Miss is playing LSU the week before, and there's going to be a ton of emotion. Ole Miss is just a better football team, and that's all there's got to be said about that. Missouri, Florida, I think Florida's a better football team. A lot can surround Ahmad Hardy on how good Missouri is. Here's where this is the game where I struggled to pick is South Carolina, Florida. Like that was the game that I left blank on this sheet for a really long time because I don't know Florida is going to be good enough to beat South Carolina, but I do have it projected they beat South Carolina. They're going to lose to Texas. It's in Texas. Florida ruined Texas going to the playoffs last year. Steve Sarkisian is not going to forget that. Like that is what it is. Georgia, better football team like Ole Miss. Georgia is the better football team. They're going to beat Florida. I have them losing to Oklahoma because of them coming off of back-to-back games against Texas and Georgia. And I just think after playing Texas and Georgia, having a young quarterback, whether it's Philo or Tramel Jones, like I think this is a game where Oklahoma, like Venables, can paint pictures that aren't what they appear to be type of deal, and Oklahoma wins an ugly football game. And then from there.
I like that. I wish I would have known this before because I didn't know the sequencing of scheduling because Oklahoma is going to come off of games with South Carolina and Mississippi State right before that. I would flip that result in mind now knowing that the difference of the two games before that Florida has compared to what Oklahoma has.
Correct.
But it is in the swamp. So
well, and Florida could be I mean, ceiling at that point they're 4-3. They're 3-4, I think. Maybe 2-5 at that point. Like if they're 2-5, I even feel better about Oklahoma beating them because that would mean that they probably lost to South Carolina. So that's kind of my Florida feel. Like I would at 7-5 I would sell stock. I would take the under.
Okay. All right. I will say Cale was the first to jump on Dallas Wilson last year.
Dude, Florida's got some dynamic players.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. Like they could get that baby humming in 2 weeks. You know, like if they came out and they just went guns a-blazing, I would not be shocked. Like, but you can buy stock in Dallas Wilson, but guess who else is on their schedule or on their roster? Cale, Eric Singleton Jr.
Yep.
Vernell Brown III.
Vernell Brown was a big one.
TJ Abrams. Like I would buy stock in all those guys.
Right.
Florida's going to be athletic as heck, dude. Like,
right.
And you know who else is on that roster?
Jaden Baugh.
Jalen Lloyd.
Mm.
Omaha West Side Jaden Lloyd. Now he went to Oklahoma State and didn't do shit, but we like he was a piece at
Yeah. Nebraska.
He's got
Nebraska.
some
You know,
speed.
like
Speedy boy.
dude could be a problem in the return game.
Yeah. Georgia.
I hate having them at 11-1 just because they always win close games, dude. Coaching, it's always a big deal. Kirby Smart always gets his way with flags. I mean, that's probably being a little bitchy on my part saying that, but I have them winning close games though. 3-4, 2-1 points and 1 point loss. The only loss I actually have them is them in the game before Georgia Tech, where they're South Carolina. At South Carolina, I have them losing 28-27.
Here's what's fascinating about Georgia's schedule is this kind of fits your narrative, Cale, of the conference purposely scheduling a giant. Georgia's toughest game is at Ole Miss and at Alabama. They miss Texas. They miss LSU.
Mm-hmm.
They miss
But
A&M.
the wild cards are for the aforementioned schools we just talked about. You know, what's Florida doing at that point? What's Auburn doing at that point? Because they do play both of them.
Correct.
You know, and both of those guys are giant unknowns because of the new coaches, but they're clearly going to be upgraded from a year ago.
So I mean I don't think Georgia is going to go undefeated in the SEC. I mean, I honestly I think it's going to be nearly impossible for any SEC team to come out of playing 9 conference games undefeated.
Gosh, I wish I would have mentioned that earlier. I'm so happy that they're freaking playing 9 now. Oh my gosh.
Like everybody's kind of on an equal playing field now.
That's also another big reason why I don't hate them, is because they finally ponied up and they're going to play 9 conference games.
Well, and not only did they pony up and play not 9 conference games, they said your other 3 games, one of those games has to be a Power 4 opponent. It can't be the Nebraska school, Balloon School, and Chicago Pediatric Dentistry, and you know, like I don't know. I respect that. Like it fits what I was talking about earlier with the Big Ten and the SEC getting together and doing a scheduling alliance.
Well, Big Ten's the only conference that doesn't have that rule now.
Well, that's why I'm like, okay, Georgia for the first time in however many years, and I guess don't quote me on this as like being 100% fact, but like typically the SEC schedule was going into Thanksgiving weekend, the week before you played freaking the Citadel.
Right.
Now, and I know that Georgia Tech's going to be down, but now they don't have that game prior to good old-fashioned hate being a tune-up game where they can put their 4-stringers in. They got to play South Carolina. So, like, I think that that's relevant for the way that they've been structured. Like, I just think that you're going to see some chaos.
So, and here's why I have Georgia going 11-1, and I think it's nearly impossible for them to go undefeated, is because sandwiched in the middle of their schedule is at Alabama, Auburn, at Florida, at Ole Miss. Like, I don't think they can come out of that 4-game stretch right there unscathed.
3 on the road.
Right.
Well, one's not. Florida's not.
Well, I mean, yes.
Atlanta.
2 are on the road.
And there's a bye week in the middle of that. All right. Can I get my take on Georgia?
Yeah, go for it.
I had Georgia at 12-0. Georgia returns 84% of their roster to lead the SEC. They returned 14 players on defense, with all have had starting experience or were returning starters last year within Georgia or within where they transferred from. I think Gunnar Stockton, I know you guys weren't as high on him as I was. I think he's a good quarterback. He's going to get better as well. Look what he did against Tennessee. Look what he did against Alabama.
Tennessee, they gave up like 50 freaking points to Syracuse.
Oh, Gunner did? No, Gunner led him right down the field with that fourth quarter comeback.
Right, but I'm saying like they had
He's saying that Tennessee's defense was dog water.
Yes.
Okay, I got you.
Tennessee's defense was ass.
They did it against
Tennessee's
Alabama.
defense was like the freaking worst, man.
I just really like what Kirby's done down there.
That's
easy.
They got to find receivers. This is their biggest issue.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Here's the thing.
And they got to throw the ball down the field, other than the one throw that you're referencing against Tennessee that was a freaking prayer and somehow fit it into a 3-inch window.
Well,
to convert a fourth down to win the game. That essentially won them the game.
And here's the other thing that you got to talk about Georgia is they had issues on their offensive line last year.
Yep. When their center went down with injury, it went bad.
Yeah, and like I don't know. Like,
this is not stockpiled Georgia like it used to be.
Yes. First of all, yeah, I don't buy Gunnar Stockton stock. Like, I would sell that stuff while it's high. So if you want to buy my Gunnar Stockton stock, Cody, I'll sell it to you.
He's not a gunslinger. Like, I feel like you don't win games that you need to win at a consistent clip by just playing it safe, and that's what he does.
Was Stetson Bennett a gunslinger?
He was more of a risk taker, but you're talking about the dudes that they were freaking 3 deep at every position because it was a stockpiled team. He didn't have to because his offensive line was freaking awesome.
Right. I mean, here's what I'll tell you, and again, I've said this before. Gunnar Stockton might be a better NFL quarterback than he is a college quarterback. Like,
I don't think he's an NFL
but he's not. Like, no Georgia quarterback other than Matt Stafford, which was pre Georgia being good.
That was Mark Richt.
Has ever been good in the NFL. Like, and partially, I mean, it goes to the same thing with Alabama. Like, Alabama's had no quarterbacks that are worth a damn in the NFL. And it's because, like Cale said, when you play with the best players at every position on your entire team, like, you're going to be good. You should be good. Like,
same reason why Alabama quarterbacks always had it too easy.
Like your job at Alabama and Georgia at quarterback used to be you were a game manager. Like, they went out there and said, go be the quarterback. Don't fuck this up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you've got to be a playmaker, and Gunnar Stockton is not a playmaker.
You could put Eric Crouch throwing balls to freaking Julio Jones and be the same thing that freaking any of those Bama quarterbacks were. Correct. You know, like, I mean, Jamal Lord could go freaking over there and freaking throw a ball to Julio Jones, and Julio would go get it, despite, you know, like, even though he'd throw it 10 yards out overthrow, you know, like, I guess my point is like, when your surrounding cast is the best players that are basically made up of, like, I mean, your 3 deep is better than everyone else. Like, it's just not even the same game. Like, you can't even use history as any basis, because the game has changed so much in the last 3 years.
The parity in college football, because everybody can now pay their players, unlike Georgia and Alabama used to be able to be the only ones that could do it. There's too much parity for you to have a guy that can't make plays at quarterback.
Right. Yeah, like, I feel like to have an undefeated team, you have to have a freaking special player at quarterback, and Gunnar Stockton is not that. Correct. And, like, in contrast to Fernando Mendoza a year ago, you know, like, that's a special player, which I also think is because of the coaching. But, I mean, we won't go there.
And here's the thing: is we're sitting here arguing with you, Cale, or with you, Cody. Like me and Cale think Georgia's going to go 8-4, and you're thinking they're going to go 12-0. We're talking about 12-0
One
versus
game.
11-1. You
Right.
know, but like, I just, I don't think it's possible for Georgia to go undefeated. Now they will, and prove me wrong, and we'll look like idiots. But
I hate that you just said that because you just guaranteed they're going to.
It's
even
Colin's Atlanta Braves philosophy.
even though they have the easiest schedule in the SEC, I don't think it's possible.
I'm excited to talk about our next team.
Kentucky
Wildcats.
welcomes new head coach Will Stein. He's an offensive genius. They had Kenny Minchie at quarterback, CJ Baxter at running back from Texas. Returned their best player on defense with Ty Bryant at safety. And this is where I was talking about with Florida. Their two starting corners transferred to Kentucky with Jordan Castell and Aaron Gates. So they're adding them on defense. But Will Stein, year one. Colin, you've been really high on Stein. Cale, Stein comes from Oregon. What do you boys say?
Well, I have Kentucky going 4-8, so I don't know that I'm really high on them.
You're higher than I am.
Well, here's what I'll say. Like, do I think Kentucky? I could see Kentucky. Like, I think their ceiling is 6-6. Like, now for as easy as I said that Georgia's schedule is, like, Kentucky's schedule is difficult. Like,
yeah.
I have them going 4-8 because their schedule is difficult. They play Alabama, they play A&M, they play LSU, they have to go to Oklahoma, they play at Tennessee, they have to play Florida, they have Louisville to end the year. Like,
I can't believe I have them at 5-7.
I have them at 2-10, only beating Youngstown and South Alabama.
I have them in a handful of close games, but even with Vandy, I have them in a close game, but I have them beating South Carolina because things get weird.
Right.
I have them. They're going to beat Youngstown State, South Alabama. I have them beating South Carolina. I have them winning at home against Vandy, and then I have them going to Columbia and beating Missouri.
I have them beating Youngstown State, South Alabama, Vanderbilt, and Louisville.
I knew it. I was like, where is that fourth win?
He talked about it in the ACC.
I must have missed that part.
It's because that game's in Kentucky.
I don't give a rip about that.
If they're
Louisville's home state.
They're sitting at 2-9 heading into that Louisville game. Louisville will have more fans at that game than Kentucky.
They're going to be 3-8.
Louisville will still have more fans at that game than Kentucky.
And they very well could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They could be 6-4.
What if Louisville is 11-0 with a win over Ole Miss?
They won't be.
And then loses to Kentucky. That'd fit the way college football works these days.
Here's the thing is I'm really high on Will Stein. I think he's a dynamic head coach. I think he will make things work there on offense. But I still think it's going to look ugly. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Could they beat South Carolina? Sure. Could they beat Tennessee? Sure. Could they beat Florida? Yeah. Could they beat Missouri? Like, out of those games, the one that I would say, they win that game for sure is Missouri.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next one's a fun one.
Yeah, let's go. We gotta make this a little faster.
Okay, LSU welcomes Lane Kiffin, Charlie Weiss Jr. They bring their offense. They bring Sam Levitt over from Arizona State. They're going to be going really young at running back with Caden Caden Durham and Harlem Berry. Add Jordan Seaton to the O-line from Colorado. Defense, they return TJ Daughtery, Whit Weeks at linebacker. They had safety Ty Benefield from Boise State, and they're likely starting 2 true freshmen on the defensive line that were both 5-star plus prospects coming out of high school.
And you didn't even talk about the 2 best defensive damn recruits that they brought in.
Are you talking about number 5?
Did
DJ
Princewell did Princewell Human Wayland fucking die on a plane to LSU or what? He's like the best
Apparently.
damn pass rusher in the country.
Well, I
God.
think there's a lot of other pass rushers that have argument, but I know he's a
Goodness.
former Nebraska guy, so
Dude, go look at that guy's stats from last year.
I know.
Holy smokes. Like you're adding Princewell to that defense.
Yeah.
Like that dude's just gonna pin his ears back and go get the damn quarterback. That's all he's got to worry about. You don't have to worry about the run because the
We'll
linebacker.
talk about Princewell later.
That shit's gonna clean up itself.
Yeah, but I thought LSU was going to give up points this year.
LSU's gonna go 11-1.
No, they're not.
I had him at 9-3.
I have it 9-3 as well.
They're going 11-1.
No way. There's no way. Not with that schedule.
Yes.
No.
The only game they're losing is at Ole Miss.
I have them losing at Ole Miss.
You know why? Okay, here's why they're going to go 11-1. Is because Clemson at home, Ole Miss on the road. Then their next 3 toughest games after that, Texas A&M, Alabama, Texas, are all freaking at home. They're going to be at Death Valley at freaking night. You ain't freaking win against Lane Kiffin at night in Death Valley.
I don't have them. I have them beating Alabama there. I have them losing to Texas. But I also have them dropping a 1-point game to Auburn at Auburn.
Dude, they're not losing to Auburn.
Yes, they are.
No, they're not.
It doesn't matter how good you are on defense. A freaking athletic quarterback changes. I would say that it's more likely that they lose to Auburn than it is that they lose to Texas.
Yeah, I would agree because that game's at Auburn. Like LSU's schedule is not easy, but it sets up beautifully. I didn't highlight that Texas and Alabama. The games that I didn't have highlighted on their schedule as wins right away were Ole Miss, A&M, Alabama, and Texas. And then I looked at I'm like, okay, they're going to lose at Ole Miss. And then I looked at those next 3 games and I'm like, well, fuck, they're all at home. They're not going to lose any of those.
Yeah, but then you have that Texas game, whether it's at home or not, it's not like it's going to be easy. And then if they win that game, and let's say they do, they got to go into Neyland the next week. And then that's going to be a trap game.
Dude. Lane Kiffin might win that game freaking 51-48. We already talked about how trash dog water Tennessee's defense is.
They might be getting better.
No.
I don't think they're going to lose to Tennessee, but it would be one that I would circle considering the game before that.
All right, let's move
I had
on.
him 9-3, losing to Bama, Texas, and Ole Miss. We get to Ole Miss now. Ole Miss coming off playoff experience, going to the semifinal. Led by Trinidad and Keywan, probably the best backfield in the country. I don't know if you guys have much argument there. Top linebacking core in the SEC with Sunstring Perkins and Baylor transfer Keaton Thomas. And then the knock on them is to see how play calling goes, since they lose Kiffin and Weiss.
Don't freaking matter, dude. They're the best quarterback in the country. They're going 11-1. They're going to lose at Texas.
And Georgia.
No, they're going to beat Georgia. Game's at home.
Yeah, so teams lose at home.
And
that'll be a day game too.
And here's yeah, because LSU Bama will be at night. You know why they're going to beat Georgia?
Tell me.
Because Ole Miss has a dynamic player at quarterback. Georgia doesn't.
I have them losing to Georgia by 1. I have them losing to Auburn by 3. I have them losing the Egg Bowl by 2.
Ooh. That would be something.
Hey, you said it on the last 2
rivalries.
Roa records out.
Yep.
Mississippi State might have the most athletic quarterback or best quarterback they've had since Dak.
Yes. That was one of the notes I had in there. Anything else on Ole Miss?
Yeah, Trinidad Chambliss is going to be the Heisman runner-up.
See that?
I have them in 8 one-possession games.
Damn.
Well, yeah, because their defense isn't going to be as good. Like, Ole Miss isn't going to be as good as they were last year. But, I think Trinidad Chambliss is one of the most fascinating players in the country.
I agree. And you
I
still have
do too.
Keywan Lacey back there as well.
I really like him a lot. I like him a lot.
All right, we move on. Mississippi State. They are turning to Kamario Taylor, which coming out of Mississippi State, they're saying this might be, like Cale just said, the best quarterback they've had since Dak. Very explosive. They do have to replace 4 of their offensive linemen. Their new D coordinator is Zach Arnett, the former coach. They're going to a 3-3-5 defense, and they've returned a lot of their defensive backs, led by Kelly Jones and Isaac Smith. I still have them. I have them going 5-7.
I have them at 4-8, and that's with a 12% with a 4% chance to win that Ole Miss game that I gave them credit for.
All I'll tell you guys is thank God that they scheduled Louisiana Monroe and Tennessee Tech.
I have them beating Missouri.
I have them beating Missouri. I have them beating Vanderbilt.
And I think they could beat
Minnesota.
Vandy. I would feel better about changing the Ole Miss game and just giving the win against Vandy instead.
I think they can beat Missouri. They can beat Vanderbilt.
Well, they were freaking.
They can beat Minnesota.
They were, yeah. I don't think they can beat Minnesota up there. They were like, what was it? Like 5 minutes away from beating Texas last year before their quarterback freaking fumbled, and they basically returned a fumble for a touchdown. Texas's defense.
That game's Brandon Walker's fault.
Oh my gosh. I remember watching that game. I was so pissed.
For the record, I have Mississippi State going 2-10 and finishing last in the SEC.
Okay.
Missouri.
4-8.
Missouri returns Ahmad Hardy, who's recovering from a gunshot wound. They added Austin Simmons at quarterback. They got a lot of their receivers back with Donovan Olagbodi, Caden Lee, and Caleb Goody. Returned their 2 tackles, Luke Work and Armand Green, and they pretty much have to replace their whole defense.
I have Missouri going 6-6, and 2 of those wins are because of their wide receiver core and Austin Simmons.
Yep. I have Missouri at 5-7.
And that's pending that Austin Simmons stays healthy.
Stays healthy.
The problem is, yeah, I could see him beating Kentucky at home, but like the problem is with them is like one of the other, like Mississippi State's on the road. You know, like
Kansas is on the road.
Yeah.
they'll beat Kansas by 2 scores.
I think so too. I think they beat Kansas.
I got them beating Kentucky, Arkansas, Troy, Kansas, and Pine Bluff.
I have them beating Pine Bluff, Kansas, Troy, Mississippi State, Arkansas, and Kentucky.
Anything else on Missouri? Cale, I know you really liked them last year.
I still might.
I really like that offense.
I do like the offense. I bet I'm willing to, like I said in the text message before this, I said I may have just overreacted based on Colin's opinion from last time when we talked about Mizzou. I can't remember why he said that, but he just said that they sucked. And so, like, I think that Austin Simmons is a freaking upgrade over Prbula based on everything we've talked about Missouri before.
I would agree.
And so, if Austin Simmons is as good as advertised, then he's going to get those good receivers the ball because Prbula missed them constantly.
Yeah.
Like, not overthrow, not missed throws, just didn't see him.
Right.
I just think they might get outscored in some games.
Yeah.
Yeah, they sure might.
Like I don't.
Their defense is actually one of the like their D coordinator is actually like they're okay defensively.
Right.
They might actually be a surprise. They might get to 7 wins. Who knows? They might play spoiler.
All right. We get to Oklahoma. Oklahoma returns their entire front 7. They add a D tackle in the transfer portal as well, named Danny Sally from Arkansas. They return both corners, Eli Bowen and Cortland Guillory. Peyton Lewis has played a ton of snaps. He'll anchor the safeties. Offense, I mean, that's their defense. It's never been in question in Oklahoma. Offensively, they get John Mateer healthy back for year 2, but their offense, their running game is awful. They did hire a new running back coach. They added a transfer from Colorado State named Lloyd Avant, and they got to replace a bunch of line.
And that's why
I had them at 9-3. You had them what? 7 and what?
7 and 5.
Cale?
6 and 6.
All right. This is our first bigger gapped team.
I personally, I do not think Oklahoma is going to be very good. They're going to lose to Michigan. They're going to lose to Georgia. They're going to lose to Texas. They're going to lose to Ole Miss. They're going to lose to A&M.
My only losses were Ole Miss, A&M, and Georgia.
I have them losing to Florida as well.
Which could be a very real thing. Like they could lose to South Carolina.
Right.
Like South Carolina is one of my more intriguing teams because are they 9-3 South Carolina or are they 3-9 South Carolina?
Right.
I don't see them losing to South Carolina because Oklahoma's defense is too good. I don't think South Carolina's offense is good enough.
I mean, this is a good bridge since South Carolina is the next team.
Go for it.
I mean, led by Dylan Stewart on the D line. They return all 3 of their linebackers. Offensively, Lenore Sellers, Dick Harbor, and offensive line supposed to be pretty darn good.
I have them in 7 one-possession games.
I think that's very accurate, Cale. Like,
yeah.
I think they're going to be a team that's going to be in a lot of one-possession games. I have them going 6 and 6 with toss-up games at Florida and Oklahoma. I think they start out 3-0. And then they beat Kentucky, Tennessee, and Arkansas in conference play.
I had them at 5-7. I think that Clemson game could be interesting.
I have them beating Clemson at the end of the year. Take away from that LSU win.
Yeah.
I have them go starting 3-0 and then losing the next 6 and then finishing 3-0.
Well, could be under a new coach for that last 3. Or
I
an
have
interim
beating
coach.
I have them beating Arkansas. I have them beating Georgia by 1, as we talked about already, and then beating Clemson.
That would be such a roller coaster of a season.
Well, it's like if it's seriously a firing and then you springboard. I mean, it's the Jerry Neuheisel effect.
Yeah.
And how long is that juice? Does that juice carry you past Georgia? Probably not, but maybe.
All right. Tennessee returns 5 of their top 6 O-line. New defensive coordinator, Jim Knowles. Who obviously I've been very high on. And all their toughest games, Bama, Texas, LSU, are at home.
At Neyland, dude. Tennessee,
and they don't know who their
10-2.
quarterback's
Let's
going to
go.
be. I had them at 8-4. Colin?
You guys must have forgot that Jim Knowles sucked at Penn State last year and cost James Franklin his job.
Did he suck? Because their offense wasn't very good either. So it's not like they let Northwestern score 49 points.
Yeah. Or UCLA.
Right. Like they were in those games. It was the offensive freaking woes that couldn't freaking. I think it's totally backwards. Like I think Jim Knowles was all right. He was the one that everybody wanted to blame because maybe it's just like how defenses. It's like how I got blamed at Loganview one time for losing a game before the playoffs. We lost 3-0, and I got blamed for it when I was the D coordinator my first year there by the head coach.
Well,
it's your fault. Your fault of the defensive coordinator for giving up 3 points.
Yeah, it was my fault that we lost. It wasn't his fault that he couldn't call freaking offense out of a wet paper bag.
Interesting. I have Tennessee going 6-6, mostly because I don't trust their quarterback play.
Yeah, and they haven't announced their starting quarterback yet either. Texas.
Oh, I have Tennessee losing to Texas A&M and LSU, but I have them starting out 9-0.
They are not going to beat Texas, Alabama, and Ole Miss all just because they're at home.
They might.
LSU. They don't play Ole Miss.
Oh, I had Texas highlighted. Sorry.
You're good.
Yeah, they're not beating Texas, Bama, and LSU all because they're at home. I have them losing to Texas, Auburn, Alabama, South Carolina, A&M, and LSU.
Well, they wouldn't beat all those teams if it was on a neutral field, but it's the extra 2.5 to 3 points that's going to get them over the hump. Home field advantage. Neyland, 110,000 strong. Peyton Manning. E. Martin. Josh Heupel.
Yeah.
Jamal Lewis.
There's a name that you probably should put on the coaching hot seat.
I agree. Heupel only gets to 6 wins.
Well, he's going 10-2.
Especially if Nico has a giant year this year. Nico, I'm a leaving.
All right, Texas.
Texas, widely regarded as the most talented roster in the country, most expensive roster in the country. They add Cam Coleman, who we all really like. They add Rasheem Biles, linebacker from Pitt. They're already loaded with talent. Arch, Colin Simmons, Ryan Wingo, list goes on. I have Texas at 10-2.
I don't think Steve Sarkisian's as good as a coach as everybody wants to freaking claim. Like he couldn't freaking do it at USC, and everybody wants to say he couldn't because of his drinking problem.
Right.
You know, like no, couldn't do it at USC. He was marginal at Washington. Like you inherited one of the best programs in the country, and you're still not maximizing the potential with what the resources that you have.
Right.
Like I don't understand the love of Steve Sarkisian. Like you don't just go from not being a good coach to being a great coach. You're either good out of the gate or you're freaking not.
He's only getting it because of the Saban school of redemption.
Yeah, and so like, and because you have because the platform elevates you at Texas, like he's obviously like it's not like he's another freaking Charlie Strong.
Yeah,
he's obviously, you know what I mean, like. And now with the NIL era, like Texas is going to pony up freaking dollars to be good, but like, I just don't believe that it's like people want to say like, well, Arch Manning wasn't very good. I don't think that Texas was bad in spots because I mean he didn't play very well, but I think that it was largely due to the ineptitude in some capacity of Steve Sarkisian. Like I can't identify exactly what it is, but I know that there's something there with him that just is not elevate Texas with the resources to where they want to be.
Colin?
All that to go 9-3.
So you agree?
Yeah,
I have him at 8-4. By the way, sorry.
I don't buy Arch Manning. I've said that when we talked about quarterback. Like Arch Manning is a guy that I 100% think is a better NFL quarterback than he is college quarterback.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I
think we'll learn a lot about Texas week 2 when they play Ohio State.
Right.
I have them losing a close game versus Ohio State. I have them losing to Ole Miss. I have them losing to A&M.
And Tennessee.
And Tennessee.
I have them losing
balls. Rocky Top.
Let me guess, Cody. You have them losing to Texas A&M.
A&M and Oklahoma.
God. Goodness gracious. They're going to beat Texas A&M, but by golly, they're going to win at LSU at night.
Yeah.
Good night.
What if you said
it's a new era in LSU? You can win in LSU at night because it's nobody. There's no stats to back up.
You're completely contradicting yourself. What if you said 9 million times tonight? When you get to a rivalry game, records don't matter.
Unless it's LSU at night. That's the caveat. All right, moving on.
Texas A&M. Return Marcel Reed, return Mario Craver. Got to replace a lot on defense. I didn't do a whole lot more research on A&M. I know they had a really good transfer class, but I didn't do more. With that being said, I had them going 11-1.
Because Cody's a subscriber to the Mike Elko OnlyFans website.
10-2 losses to Bama and LSU.
My only loss was LSU.
I have them 9-3.
Losing to Texas.
Yep. Bama, Texas.
It's like Kyle Field, man, and Texas is pissed from A&M's pissed about last year. I bet. Why is that any? How is that any different about? How is that any different about Texas with Florida? Just because A&M just stayed in the playoff instead, or is that why it's different?
Because Texas is a better football team than A&M.
Maybe.
Got a lot to figure out.
Okay, last team.
Vandy pretty much loses all their top talent with their tight end and quarterback. They've added the number 2 quarterback in the country in Jared Curtis, and Vandy's gonna Vandy.
4-8, back to where they belong.
I had them at 4-8.
I have them at 3-9.
Now, I do think they're going to be a more competitive 4-8 than what their 4-8s of history have been, but
yeah,
I don't know. Their schedule's pretty brutal.
yeah.
I just think they're good enough. They're not going to be getting beat by freaking 40. Like it'll be like 2 scores, and
I do think that they can get like. There's a 3-game stretch in there: Arkansas, Kentucky, Mississippi State.
Right.
But I think they could get 2 of 3.
Yep.
And they're going to beat Austin Peay in Delaware.
Yep. Who is your guys' conference championship game?
I would have to do tiebreakers because I have 3 teams at 11-1. So by that standard, let's see. Georgia loses to Ole Miss. Ole Miss beats LSU. LSU beats Georgia. No. LSU doesn't play Georgia. Yeah, they do. No, they don't. So by that standard, it would be probably Georgia over LSU. Or Ole Miss, sorry.
I just looked at how my tiebreaker would work. It'd be Georgia and A&M, apparently.
That's what I had was Georgia and A&M.
I'm not sure I like that, but A&M had a win over Tennessee. Tennessee was over Auburn, and those were my three teams that were 10-2. And A&M doesn't play Auburn, so.
All right.
So I think there's like a tier in this conference. You guys can agree or disagree. But I would say your top end teams are Georgia, LSU, Mississippi, Ole Miss, Alabama, Texas, and Texas A&M. And then you got your group of Auburn, Florida, Oklahoma, Missouri, South Carolina, Tennessee. And I think Kentucky and Missouri could be interchangeable in that tier. Like, or you could drop Missouri into that bottom tier of Kentucky, Arkansas, Vanderbilt, Mississippi State.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I like it.
All right, now for our favorite segment. Colin, what does ChatGPT say?
Oh, you're gonna skip the best players in the conference?
Yeah, because we're at.
Yeah, we got to get going. We'll have to come back to that or something.
I mean, we kind of talked about all of them.
Yeah.
Anyways, Chat has Georgia 11-1, Texas 10-2, Ole Miss 10-2, A&M 10-2, Oklahoma 9-3 somehow, Alabama 9-3, Ole Miss 9-3, Tennessee 9-3, and then Florida 7-5, Missouri 7-5, Auburn 6-6, South Carolina 5-7, Kentucky 3-9, Mississippi State 3-9, Vanderbilt 3-9, Arkansas 2-10.
You said Ole Miss twice at 10-2, 9-3, but you meant LSU at 10-2. Just an FYI for those listening. So
yeah, Texas or Georgia, Texas, LSU, A&M, Oklahoma, and then Bama, Ole Miss 9-3. Sorry.
Yep.
And they have Georgia beating Texas 30-27 in the SEC championship game.
All right. Want to add anything else?
Yeah. Quick question.
Yeah.
If this is a new thing that I would wish we would have talked about in these other conferences. What SEC program would you buy stock in?
Oh, regardless of where they're at?
Yeah, like just a team that you think
Is going to go above what Vegas has.
Yes.
Okay, so for this year,
War Eagle. War freaking Eagle. Auburn.
I'm buying Bama stock.
see, I have Bama already pretty high. I
Yeah,
think I would go.
but Vegas doesn't.
Okay.
We're not talking about who you have.
I know, but where's it? I guess I don't know where Vegas has these guys. So that's where it's tough. So I'd say I would buy Florida because I think Florida has all the talent in the world. It's just getting these guys to gel and get all the off the field stuff taken care of.
Alabama's 8.5.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm buying stock in Alabama.
Georgia is 9.5. Texas 9.5. LSU 8.5.
I would also buy stock in LSU.
A&M 8.5. Ole Miss 7.5. Oklahoma 7.5. Tennessee 7.5. Florida 7.5. Missouri, Auburn at South Carolina 6.5. Vandy at 5.5. Kentucky, Mississippi State, Arkansas at 4.5.
Who would you sell if there was a team that
Brought
you
to you
would
by BetMGM, by the way. That's where it was.
If there was a team you could sell stock in, who would it be?
Ooh, sell stock.
Texas.
I would say no. I don't know because all the
I
ones
don't
that
I don't mind your disdain for Texas, Cody, but I don't get it.
Because I don't believe in Sark.
I would say probably Missouri.
I
Six
think
and a
I-
half. Six and
I
a
think-
half. They're not getting to 7 wins.
I think Oklahoma. Oklahoma's my sell stock.
Yeah,
Right,
but they're
because,
already they're only at 7-5. You know, like so. I mean,
Well, but like I'm not basing that off of I'm not necessarily basing it off of Vegas. I'm basing it off of I guess coaches poll rankings. I guess right or the coaches poll rankings. Oklahoma's a top 15 team in the country, aren't they? Coming into the
I
preseason.
think they're right at that 15 range.
yeah, and the JP poll loves them. So well, I suppose should we end on that?
Yep. Yep, I'm good with it.